I recently watched the Marvel movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and honestly, I was a little bit disappointed in some parts. Now, there were some things I appreciated. The fact that it was directed by Sam Raimi actually made the movie have some style. You could tell that the cinematography in this movie, the way it's shot, is significantly better than any other Marvel movie that's come out so far because Sam Raimi has a distinct style. But overall, I wanted them to go into more universes. Overall, I wanted to experience the madness of those different universes. Well, I got great news for you guys today because today's story just goes to show you that no matter what we can create in our imaginations, no matter what we can imagine, no matter what sliders rip-off universes can appear in a big budget Marvel movie and pretend like we didn't notice that they did that, in reality, we live in the craziest universe. In reality, we are in the worst timeline. In reality, we accept so many absurdities every single day that we don't need cinema, we don't need movies to put that forward. Because Christian Cooper, the guy from the Central Park video, you remember this story because we're still talking about it 2 years later, even though it was just an argument between two people in Central Park, and Christian Cooper did exactly what Amy Cooper accused him of doing and admitted to doing so, has been given a show on National Geographic where he is the host, and the show is focused on bird watching. National Geographic has decided that they need to pay reparations to this Harvard-educated man. The white guilt is too strong over there, so Christian Cooper will be hosting a Nat Geo show on bird watching because making up for racism isn't racism bad, isn't Nat Geo so progressive? But before we get into that, we gotta talk about today's sponsor. It's My Digital Money. We're gonna throw it over to them. Let me do a throwing motion. Throw it over to them, and then we're gonna come back over here, and then we're going to do the story. And again, My Digital Money, thank you for sponsoring this channel. Supporting the sponsors helps support the channel. I'm sure many of you are aware that you could earn hundreds, if not thousands of dollars investing in crypto, but what you might not know is there's actually a way for you to earn money in the crypto space but not pay capital gains tax. And the way to do that is to go over to mydigitalmoney.com and open yourself up a crypto Roth IRA. This is a tax deferred account, meaning that you guys pay the taxes on the assets up front, and when you get your gains all the way when it comes retirement time, that is all tax-free. My Digital Money is also offering for members of my audience out there right now on the internet.com a $50 gift for any account that has $1,000 or more put into it and open with them. That's mydigitalmoney.com. Realize the gains of the crypto space without the tax penalties. We have had a lot of forms of stupid entertainment to come out in recent years, and some of that bad entertainment has been related to the LGBTQ, XXIIP, JK, YYK community, and a lot of it has been related to race issues. And it's not something that's super recent. Obviously, it dates back to around Trump's time. There were woke stuff before Trump's time, but it really started ramping up where every piece of entertainment needed to have a female lead or needed to make statements about American politics, to the point where you couldn't watch TV without hearing a villain make some version of "make this thing great again" in order to really tell you that he was a villain because he was quoting the Orange Man. And I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I don't know if this is the first time you've ever heard this, but Orange Man is in fact bad. Orange Man bad. If you hear somebody quoting the Orange Man, they are bad. That's how you know they're villains, because Republicans are bad, and we need to stand up for the marginalized people that don't get opportunities in our society, even though virtually every story made by these major entertainment corporations is about those marginalized people giving those actors opportunities in our society. But this seems like a bridge too far. Now, I know some of you are going to say that Showtime series, Everything's Going to Be All White, is the bridge too far, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about that. We'll discuss that. We'll delve deep into that if that's something that you want. Let me know down in the comments below. But at least that show, at least that series, has a bunch of academics that do interviews. I mean, they're terrible academics. They're horribly anti-white racist academics, and celebrities that are used to being in front of the camera. Christian Cooper is just a guy, and a Karen of all people. And what's funny about that is, of course, the way the story is told by the media is that the lady freaking out over her dog was the Karen. But when you look into the case, when you delve into the details, when you look into the history of Christian Cooper, what you find out is that this man, this Harvard-educated man that is now somehow a victim because he got into an argument with another wealthy individual in Central Park, they both live in Manhattan, is our perpetual victim, and he's deserving of a reparation show about bird watching because all he wanted to do in the United States of America was just be a black man that was bird watching, and black men can't even bird watch in America. So Nat Geo is going to give us a show where we all watch him bird watch, just so we know that black men can in fact bird watch in America, and it will alleviate our white guilt. And this guy who's never been in front of the camera is going to be a host of the show, and he's going to be talking about birds, even though he bird watches in Central Park, and there's not a huge variety of birds in Central Park, but they're going to take him everywhere in the world, and hopefully he doesn't get confronted by evil white racists while he's bird watching, even though I really hope and genuinely hope, even if National Geographic has to stage it, that he does in fact get confronted by an evil white racist who says, hey, black people can't bird watch. That would be the greatest TV ever, especially if we found out later that it was in fact a hoax. I can't wait to watch every episode of this series, even though I am certain it will be canceled after 8 episodes. And congratulations to Christian Cooper, who has parlayed not actually being a victim into a television career because our society is stupid in every possible way. Now, some of you out there might not be too familiar with the story. Some of you out there might say, well, a story of two people arguing in Central Park isn't national news, but let me clear this up for you. It is in fact national news, and everybody talks about it, even though from Christian Cooper's own Facebook post, he did exactly what Amy Cooper was concerned about. And as I've said multiple different times on this channel, if any woman were in her position, she would have likely freaked out, especially a dog mom, and called the police on any man who decided to confront them in the middle of the park to argue with them. But first, let's get into Christian Cooper's history, because Christian Cooper has a long history of harassing people that walk their dogs without leashes in Central Park, and apparently disrupt his bird watching, because he is in fact an avid bird watcher. That being said, there are a bunch of complaints about people saying that this guy is getting into arguments with him, and there are complaints from him about the lack of enforcement of the leash laws that disturb his bird watching. And in fact, it has gotten to a point where it's bothered Christian Cooper, the chief Karen in this situation, so much that he actually carries around dog treats on him so that he can intimidate people who don't walk their dog with a leash and pretend like he's going to take their dog from them if they don't do what he says and leash their dog. Let's read from the original Facebook post itself so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Central Park this morning, this woman's dog is tearing through the plantings in the Ramble. Me, ma'am, dogs in the Ramble have to be on a leash at all times. The sign is right there. Now, to be clear, one of the things that I found out is that apparently in the Ramble, you don't have to leash your dog at all times. You have to leash your dog after 9 a.m. or after 10 a.m. And this actually might have taken place before the time that you have to leash your dog. So, Christian Cooper, you're wrong about that. Probably, that's what I heard. I'm just injecting rumors into the situation because honestly, this story that has gained national attention for 2 years is not a real story, and it shouldn't be a real story, and nobody should take it seriously, but yet we're still talking about it. Her, the dog runs are closed. He needs his exercise. Me, all you have to do is take him to the other side of the drive outside the Ramble, and you can let him run off the leash all you want. Her, it's too dangerous. So right now, again, we're in normal interaction territory. We're in two people arguing over something. Somebody doesn't like to be told what to do. Christian Cooper is annoyed because he does like watching the birds in the Ramble. And again, the dog scares off the birds. Perfectly reasonable. It's just people complaining. They're both elderly people. Old people tend to complain at each other over things like this. If you've ever been one of those skateboard kids, you know that people say, get off the sidewalk, stop skateboarding here, get your face out of here. Tim Pool has a million stories of this happening to him, and it's broken his little baby heart over the course of the years. But this is where things get into sketchy territory, and where Christian Cooper crossed the line that, again, if you're a man and you do to any woman when you have her alone in the park in reference to her dog, especially when she's a dog mom, you are going to get a similar response. Look, if you're going to do what you want, I'm going to do what I want, but you're not going to like it. Right then and there, we have the implied threat from Christian Cooper, but again, it's vague enough that it's not technically a legal threat. I'm not saying that Christian Cooper needs to be charged with a crime or anything like that in this scenario, but what I am saying is take the race out of it, swap the races, whatever. If you're a man and you're a much bigger man, or any man at all, and you were mad at a woman in a park, would you say that to her and expect good outcomes from that? Would you say that to her and expect her to just take that in stride, or would you think that maybe she feels threatened because that is clearly an implied threat? But it actually goes a little bit further than that, according again to Christian Cooper's own account that he posted with this video. Her, what's that? Me, to the dog. Come here, puppy. Her, he won't come to you. Me, we'll see about that. I pull out the dog treats that I carry for just such intransigence. I didn't even get a chance to toss the treats to the pooch before Karen scrambled and grabbed the dog. Her, don't touch my dog, all caps, so she was probably yelling this. That's when I started recording with my iPhone, and when her inner Karen fully emerged and it took a dark turn. This is the star of Nat Geographic's news show Extraordinary, or Extraordinary, depending on how you like to pronounce that, Birder, with Christian Cooper. A guy who threatened a woman alone in the park, implied that he was going to take her dog, had dog treats for the sole purpose of doing this to dog people that don't follow his orders. He's the star, appreciate him, and again, he's so extraordinary that he didn't think that doing this to a woman in New York City alone in the park would result in her calling the police on him. Any man, again, try this. I dare you to try this and tell me what the results are. I dare you to attempt this, no matter what your race. If you're a white dude, try this with a black woman and see how it works out for you. See if you get similar results. Carry the creepy dog treats, complain, start ordering women around what to do when you corner them alone in the park, and see how they react. See if you're going to get a completely different response because you're a white man and white man bad and you got white privilege. See if you're going to get a different response if you do this to a white woman and you're a white person. See if you'll get a different response if you do this to a Korean woman and you're a Korean person. Trust me, every single time it is not going to work out good for you because dog moms are cringe. They substitute their maternal affection for an animal, and this is how they react. But again, because you can't have an argument with a black person in a park anymore, you can't have a disagreement that got out of hand, you can't get scared, and that person who scared you intentionally and tried to intimidate you intentionally and threatened to take your dog intentionally to intimidate you, without it being a national issue, without it being a 2 years long issue, without him being deemed a perpetual victim and us needing to give him a show just so he can be stunning and brave. I wonder if he's going to carry the dog treats on the set. I would love, again, for this to be captured from beginning to end by the Nat Geo cameras, and they'd be like, oh my god, it happened again. The controversy around Christian Cooper when he provokes people and they get mad and then they call the police on him is like something that we're so surprised by. Christian Cooper, perpetual victim, we're gonna catch him on camera 24/7. We're gonna take him all around the world just to do this, just to show you evil white racists who said black people weren't allowed to birdwatch, which I guess is a thing that the evil white racists do. That you're wrong. Nat Geographic coming soon to television stations near you. Coming to the Nat Geo streaming service. This should be a launch title for their streaming service. Just pay $4.99 a month to watch Christian Cooper watch birds and evil white racists be mad that he's watching birds. Look, I don't really have any other thoughts besides this. I did want to give a full review of this case. I did want to talk about it. And I do think it is crazy that we're still giving attention to this argument in Central Park. Murders don't get as much attention as this argument in Central Park. It's insane in every possible way, and I feel terrible for Amy Cooper because all the charges were dropped against her. Everything about her filing a false police report, those were all dismissed because she didn't file a false police report. He did threaten her. She called the police. She said that this guy was threatening me. We all saw it. But yet, the narrative is out there. She still has trouble getting employment, and everything seems to be based on her overreaction because she's a dog mom and the implication that she's an evil white racist when there's just no evidence for that. Once again, I will say it for the umpteenth time. If you do this to any woman in a park, corner them, see what happens. You'd be lucky that her boyfriend ain't around the corner for her to call him, because you know for a fact that a lot of boyfriends would take this as a threat to their lady, and it might result in physical violence against you. So Christian Christian Cooper got off pretty easily when the cops showed up, and then they were like, okay, no real crime was committed here, you guys just leave each other alone. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Will you be watching this show? Will you be DVRing it? Will you pay the $15.99 for Nat Geo streaming just so you could watch every episode all the time on all your devices? Or do you think that this is absurd and ridiculous in every possible way? I think I know the answer to that question, but let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social media, support me via the support links in the description box. This has been me talking about Christian Cooper getting his own television show, because that's how absurd we are. Till next time.